We are patterned human beings. Okay? We make the pattern, and in fact, the Buddha even took it one step further. He said, your thinking creates the world you live in. Literally. Okay? A pattern means if you look in the mirror and say, you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you say, oh, jeez. Again, there you are. You don't look so good. Okay? Next morning, get up in the morning, look in the mirror, and again, oh, what happened to Marlon Brando? Okay? Point is, the third time, you're more likely to get up, look in the mirror, and have exactly the same thought. And then the fourth time, and then the fifth time, and then the sixth time, and the seventh time, until you've created a world where you just happen to have an ugly mug. Okay? It's far more complex than that. The bottom line is, that's not, in fact, what's happening. You can only be exactly what you are in the moment that you find yourself. And the practice of Zen, in a sense, is cutting through the patterns of thinking. And the way we do that is very simply with a question that returns us to before thinking. So when you say you made mistakes 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, so what? Has nothing to do with what you are right now in this moment. You make what you think is a mistake, you have two choices. You go and apologize and move on, or you just move on. I'll tell you one interesting story about that. This Su Bong, we don't have a picture of Su Bong here.
No.
Okay. Su Bong, who really helped build, do you remember Su Bong Sihoy? Yeah, he used to sneak out all the time and go have like a roast beef or something up in Central Square. He was a monk. But anyways, we can't, he died already a while back, so we can't be too rough on him. He led Kyolche in Providence on several occasions. I think he led 3 or 4 90-day retreats. Okay? Because for you now, I'm telling the story. And they, in the middle of the retreat, I think maybe some of you have heard this, he was, they do this 12 midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning practice. So they get up at 4:30 in the morning, pretty much practice all day till 9:30 at night, and then get up at midnight, practice to 2 a.m., go back to bed, get up at 4:30. Okay? Now, people think, well, that must make you crazy, and that's accurate, it does. The quality of that, though, was that Sihoy, who was a sweet little guy from Hawaii, Chinese-American, he's sitting there, okay, 1 o'clock in the morning, middle of the winter. They're out on this dirt road in Providence, if you've ever been to the temple. He's sitting. All this energy comes up. And so, Shukpi hits, he stands up, he says, okay, we're all walking outside. Okay, get your coats and shoes. We'll meet outside on the dirt road. So he goes outside, and he's got so much energy that instead of just, doing this slow, gentle, meditative type, okay, he's like, boom, 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 like a drill sergeant. They're marching down the dirt road. And there may be 20 people, 15 people on the retreat. They're all following in step. Okay, middle of the night. And so then he has this idea that his feet know where to walk. So he says, I don't need a path. I don't even need to stay on the dirt road. You know, there's like ice and snow around, but he just takes a left right out into the woods. Okay? And there are people slipping and sliding and trying to keep up, and it's quite a struggle. And he does this for about 30 minutes, gets back, finishes the evening sitting, everybody goes to bed. Well, the next morning at breakfast, this woman, one of the women that was doing the retreat, who was in the 50s, had written him this long note and folded it up and gave it to him, because there was no talking on the retreat. So she gives him this note. He goes into his room, throws it on his bureau. Somebody hits a moke talk. It's breakfast time, and he goes to breakfast, forgets all about the note. Okay, so that night again, sitting 1 o'clock in the morning, gets all his energy. Again, stands up. Okay, everybody, we walk outside. Goes outside, same thing, down the dirt road. No need for trails, no need for paths. Boom, off into the woods, branches flying into the people in back of him, and slipping and sliding, gets back, okay. Again, the next morning, the same woman comes up with this note. Gives it to him. He says, oh, God, I didn't read her first note. I feel terrible. Forgot all about it. So he goes into his room, grabs the first note, opens it, and it says, how can you be such an inconsiderate monk? How can you treat us that way and take us through the ice and the snow? I could have hurt myself. People were falling down. Your behavior is inexcusable. And I would like to leave this retreat as soon as possible. You're completely unacceptable teaching. Okay, so then he says, oh my God, I can't believe I made that mistake. He takes out the second note, opens it up. It says, dear Su Bong, thank you for your clear teaching, your unmoving mind, your not checking, not holding. You just did it. Even though I wrote you this note about how upset I was. Okay? That's very interesting. That means mistake is not necessarily a mistake. But carrying the burden of it is not necessary. Make a mistake, fix it. That's all. You only have this moment. You don't have the past. We can't go back into the past and fix stuff. And even though we think we can go out into the future and set things up so they're going to work fine, we cannot do that either. We have this moment, and it needs to be the priority. And that's all that Zen teaches. And it doesn't teach it by explaining it. It teaches it by requiring each one of us, through our own experience, to have that experience of, as Jean said,